Hey everybody, so in this lesson we're going to be solving quadratic linear systems by graphing. Okay, so remember a system of equations is always at least two equations or more. So a quadratic linear system has a quadratic equation, so we're going to get a parabola, and a linear equation, so we're going to graph a line, and then we're going to see where they intersect. So the solution is either 0, 1, or 2 ordered pairs, and that depends on the number of intersection points. Okay, so if I have a parabola and a line that intersect like this is where we get two solutions. Okay. If I have a parabola and a line that intersect like this, okay, this is where we get one solution. Okay, and then zero solutions would be when you have a parabola and a line that never intersect. Okay, so we could get any one of these three situations when we graph a quadratic linear system. All right, so let's take a look at an example. Okay, so in this first one, we have our quadratic, so I'm going to graph that first. Whoops. Okay, so again, to graph a quadratic, I'm going to go to my calculator, so I'm going to go to y equals, type in my equation, x squared minus 6x plus 6. Hit second graph. And again, here's where you might have to scroll through the calculator a little bit, right? So you want to see where the y values start to repeat. So I'm seeing 6 and 6, 1 and 1, -2 and -2. So 3, -3 looks like it's my turning point. So a good interval to graph would be from 0 to 6. All right, so I'm going to copy those values directly onto my paper. All right, and then my corresponding y values were 6, 1, -2, -3, -2, 1, and 6. Okay, so we're going to graph that quadratic or that parabola. So we got 0, 6, 1, 1, 2, -2, 3, -3, 4, -2, 5, 1, and 6, 6. All right, so when I go to connect these points, I'm going to use arrows because they didn't give us a specified interval. And especially because we're graphing two equations, you definitely want to make sure you label. Okay, so there's our parabola. So now I'm going to come over to my line. So remember when we graph lines, we like it to be in the form y equals mx plus b, right? Where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So here, our slope is the number in front of x, which is 1. So my slope is 1 over 1. And my y-intercept is -4. So I'm going to start at -4 on the graph. And we're moving up 1 over 1. Okay, so we could see here we have 2 points of intersection. All right, so we have 2 solutions. So my first solution was 2, -2. Whoops. And then our second solution was 5, 1. All right, and that's graphing a quadratic linear system. So there are 2 ways that you can check your answer in the calculator. So we're going to go over that next. Okay, so I already have in my calculator in y1 my quadratic equation. So now in y2, I'm going to type in my linear equation. So that was y equals x minus 4. Okay, so if you hit second graph, you'll see that when x is 2, both of the corresponding y values are -2. And then you'll also see that when x is 5, both of the corresponding y values are 1. Okay, so you can easily check your answer in the table. And then you can also check your answer with the graph. All right, so to do that, you're going to do the following. You're going to hit second, trace, and then go to option 5 where it says intersect. And then you get that little blinker on the screen. So you're going to use your left and right arrow keys to move that little blinker. And you're going to move it to one of the points of intersection, right? So I have it right here at this point of intersection. Then you're going to hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And your calculator will give you the intersection. So we get 2, -2. All right, so then we're going to do that one more time. So I'm going to hit second, trace, go to option 5, move my little blinker over to the other point of intersection, and then hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we get 5, 1. All right. And that's all there is to graphing a quadratic linear system. All right, let's try another one. So numbers 2 and 3, I'm going to have you guys try on your own for practice. So we'll take a look at number 4. Okay, so we got y equals 4x minus x squared. Okay, so I'm going to have cleared what I put in my calculator before. And I'm going to type in my quadratic, 4x minus x squared. Okay, hit second graph. So now I'm going to look for where my y values repeat. So it looks like they repeat right here. So my interval is going to be from -1 to 5. So I'm going to copy those values directly onto my paper. Right, so then my corresponding y values were -5, 0, 3, 4, 3, 0, -5. Okay, so -1, -5, 0, 0, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 3, 4, 0, and 5, -5. Okay, so we got y equals 4x minus x squared. Okay. Now I'm going to come over to my line. So again, when we graph a line, we want it to be in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so in this equation, we got to move the 4 over. So we're going to get y equals x minus 4. So our slope is 1 over 1, and our y-intercept is -4. Okay, so y-intercept's -4, my slope is 1/1. So we're going up 1 to the right 1. And make sure you label. Okay, so for this example, we had 2 points of intersection. All right, so those are my 2 solutions. So we got -1, -5. And we have 4, 0. Okay, and again, we can check this in the calculator. So if we go to the calculator, in y1 we have our quadratic, so in y2 I'm going to type in the equation of the line, which was x minus 4. Okay, so if I go to my table, so if I hit second graph, when x is -1, both of my corresponding y values are -5. And when x is 4, both of my corresponding y values are 0. Okay, if I want to verify it with the graph, I'm going to hit second, trace, and then go to option 5 where it says intersect. So I move that little blinker to one of the points of intersection, hit enter 3 times, so we get -1, -5 as my first solution. Hit second trace, option 5, intersect again. Move the little blinker over to the other point of intersection. And hit enter 3 times. So we get 4, 0 as our other point. Okay? All right, let's try to get through number 5. All right, so number 5, we're going to put the quadratic in the calculator. So we got -x² plus 6x minus 5 So again, I'm looking for where my y values repeat, so I have that right here. So my interval is going to be 0 to 6. Okay, so the corresponding y values were -5, 0, 3, 4, 3, 0, -5. Okay, so that's our quadratic. And then the line y equals 3. All right, so hopefully you remember in class we talked about Hoy-Vux to help us remember vertical and horizontal lines. So since this equation begins with y equals, it's a horizontal line. So y equals 3 is going to be this horizontal line that intersects the y-axis at 3. Okay, so for this system, again, we have 2 solutions. So our solutions are 2, 3, and 4, 3.